What do people not consider when it comes to a zombie apocalypse?
I'm always surprised that in zombie movies and series, people forget about bicycles. It's a relatively fast and quiet way to get around, yet no one seems to use it. And what about slingshots? Why doesn't anyone use slingshots during a zombie apocalypse? They have unlimited and practically silent ammo. A slingshot can distract zombies. In general, they open up many possibilities. People, use slingshots.
Dental problems. Imagine having braces at the start of the apocalypse. You'll never be able to remove them. Smell. Won't we get used to the smell after a while? Yes, in fact, the nose quickly loses sensitivity to stench. And that's interesting. Mosquitoes and ticks could become a real problem for us, as animals are also susceptible to the zombie virus. Most people will die from the virus in their beds, with high fever, at home or in the hospital, at least at the very beginning of the apocalypse. So, don't be surprised that most zombies will be in pajamas or hospital gowns. An interesting detail, I think many people will die simply because they won't be able to take zombies seriously in such attire, at least in the first few days. We could stop this whole zombie apocalypse if we just tied people's shoelaces before their funerals. Great idea. You could also tie their hands so zombies can't crawl. Or remember medieval times and chop off the heads of corpses before burial. Or just cremate everyone.
A few years after the apocalypse begins, there will be big problems with gasoline. I always laugh at this topic because in many series, games, and movies, heroes drive fancy zombie cars with huge fuel consumption. If there are no people extracting oil and working at refineries, in 2 to 3 years, all these cars will turn into useless junk. The fuel issue was raised in The Last of Us. In one scene, Joel talks about how in the early years of the outbreak, you could drive hundreds of kilometers on a full tank of gas. But now, when he and Ellie are driving a truck, they have to refuel every few hours. Banks will still demand their quarterly payments, and a week later, you'll get a call from the gym. Having worked at a gym, I'm sure that's how it will be. Juicy zombie action. Don't be the weakest link in your team. Join us for just $10 a month. Take a bite of our offer right now. Send an SMS with the word BRAINS to get a bonus. You don't want to look like a Walking Dead this summer. Why does no one mention that people will have to live without conveniences? It won't be as cool as some imagine. Lack of food, medicine, hygiene products, medical care, good clothing, shoes, etc. Do you wear contact lenses? Good luck finding saline solution or extra lenses. And it might happen that you take them off before bed, and in the meantime, you're attacked. In general, the conditions will be terrible. In the end, when going to the toilet, you'll just have to do your business, and that's it. There will be no pleasant ritual. Men won't be able to go to the toilet for an hour to sit and just relax. There will be no snacks and TikTok. Edited. Guys, I'm just reflecting on such luxuries as toilets and snacks. I don't mean you have to use them simultaneously. Cover your skin, wear a full-face helmet, and a Kevlar jacket and pants. This way, you'll be practically invulnerable to zombies. Even a leather jacket, welding apron, or carpenter's apron can help. Welding gear, in general, can be very useful during a zombie apocalypse. The ideas that come to your mind and the places you think of going are likely the same as countless other people's thoughts. Yeah, I'll just hole up in the nearest Walmart and defend myself there. No, you won't, because country guy Terry has already taken that spot, and he'll shoot you with his shotgun if he sees you trying to invade his territory. Or, even more likely, when you approach Walmart, there will already be a huge crowd of zombies waiting for you. Just got back from Walmart, looks like it started, zombies are already there. Drinking water. All lakes and rivers could be contaminated during the apocalypse. How long can a person survive without drinking water? Also, if you breathe air in conditions with rotting corpses everywhere, that air will be like poison to you. It's not just a terrible smell. It can actually poison you if you breathe it for too long. Ask anyone who works with corpses.
Lack of sleep. Good, truly restful sleep. In conditions where there are zombies and lawless people taking advantage of the lack of order, you can forget about good sleep for the first few years. Imagine sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night in a restless, shallow sleep for the entire first month of the apocalypse. Then, one night, you find yourself in a safe place. You sleep for about 10 hours, fully immersed in sleep. Upon waking, you can't understand what day it is, who you are, or where you are for 2 minutes. We've all experienced this feeling at some point, but after that, in a split second, you remember everything that happened. The enormous number of deaths, the apocalypse, so much suffering, your current situation, those you've lost or know nothing about. Just imagine what you'll feel at that moment.
I would phrase this question differently. What things do zombie apocalypse movies overlook? Smell, human intelligence and stupidity, the direct impact of nature, bacteria, the decomposition process will definitely cripple zombies, and the weather and other wildlife will simply kill them. Real military firepower and the ability to destroy entire areas if desired. In reality, this virus would be much easier to contain compared to something like COVID-19. You can actually kill the virus with airstrikes or even just regular bullets. With traditional viruses and diseases, there's no such possibility.
Edited. The excuse that most people aren't trained to make headshots is not an adequate response to any of these points. You can damage their bones, muscles, and so on. Injuries from weapons, whether explosives, projectiles, blunt force, and so on, can immobilize zombies. Shooting the legs and knees of a zombie horde won't kill them, yes, but they will be significantly less mobile and pose less of a threat, allowing you to significantly ease their dispatch.
Moreover, people seem to forget about point 3, which, in my personal opinion, is the most important. Nothing can defeat nature. The simple process of decomposition will make a dying, rotting corpse a questionable threat. People with chronic illnesses will die within weeks or months due to a lack of medication. For example, diabetics who regularly need insulin or metformin. I have type 2 diabetes, and I have no idea how long I would last without metformin and a varied diet that allows me to control my blood sugar. A few months? A couple of years? The book, 1 Second After, describes this problem very well. It's not about zombies, though. The apocalypse came as a result of an electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear explosion. But the problem was the same. The book's character, a doctor, explained at the very beginning how everything would happen. First, people dependent on hospital machines would die. By that time, they were already dead. Then, people dependent on regularly taken medications would die. Heart problems, insulin, dialysis, oxygen tanks. They would last for days or weeks. In the long term, people with untreated cancer and those with various infections due to a lack of antibiotics and hunger would die. There were many more details, but these few paragraphs really stuck with me.
In every zombie apocalypse plot, characters somehow find themselves prepared for the impending disaster. In real life, I think there will be many moments when a person, even very trained and capable, will fall asleep, then wake up to breaking glass and die within a minute. In the remake of Dawn of the Dead, I like the scene where Anna, the main character, wakes up to find a zombie child attacking her and her husband. She has the sense to grab the car keys and run for her life. She's in pajamas and barefoot. That's probably how some survivors will be. Terribly unprepared and damn scared, with no idea what's going on. Zombie hordes will eventually rot. Their bodies will decompose to the point where tendons, joints, and other tissues will no longer provide mobility to the undead. Survivors just need to wait for this. In a scenario with reanimated corpses, this is indeed a fair point, but I'm more interested in something like mutated rabies, which doesn't actively kill the host, but pushes them to basic instincts like aggression and the urge for food and water. This is essentially the point of the movie 28 Days Later. People don't turn into the traditional type of zombies. They are infected with a rage virus, which is somewhat similar to an aggressive form of rabies. No one talks about the nuclear apocalypse that will happen because there's no one to fix breakdowns and prevent accidents at nuclear power plants. Yes, but it's not a nuclear apocalypse in the traditional sense. There will be radioactive fallout, yes, but there won't be a nuclear mushroom cloud and explosions causing a nuclear winter.
Waste disposal. This flaw is also found in other end-of-the-world scenarios. Without a septic system or waste disposal, diseases will pose a greater risk to people than many other factors. The same goes for injuries. Of course, there's first aid, but without a power system to cool medications, something as simple as a cut or scratch can be fatal.
Edited. I'm talking about most people, not those who are well-versed in survival and have an idea of how to live outside society. As for the example with a cut, I'm speaking in general, not literally. One way or another, a person in such conditions can die from something minor.
Edited 2. Let me change the scenario a bit. In general, you have a bunker where you hold up during the apocalypse. You can't break its seal because the air outside is toxic. You have canned goods and dry rations for 10 years ahead. How will you dispose of all this trash? In the Air Force, we conducted exercises. My partner and I had to sit in a Ford Ranger pickup all day. You can't imagine how much stinky trash we accumulated from just 2 MREs. Now multiply that by days, weeks, years. Many people will try to go into the woods and make fires there, which will inevitably cause forest fires. Or even more likely, people will run out of food. Many somehow think they and a few hundred or thousand people can survive in the wilderness without much effort, just gathering berries and hunting rabbits. In such a scenario, they will quickly realize why 10,000 years ago agriculture became humanity's greatest discovery, and why our society leveled so many forests for farmland. In the book, World War Z, there's a chapter on this topic. Many Canadian families go north to hide in the woods, and everything is fine and calm there for 2 weeks. But then people start running out of food. Like, share, and subscribe!